So wonderful, good afternoon. And welcome to the Intermountain Healthcare Ironman 70.3 World Championship, presented by the Utah Sports Commission, our second day of racing. Just want to take this moment to congratulate all the women who raced yesterday. What a fabulous show they gave us. And I'd like to congratulate the men on an incredible race today as well. The way that the show will work here, and I also want to thank everybody viewing online. Thank you for your support, and thank you for the questions you're going to send through as well. We will be asking your questions of our top 5 professional men here. I'm going to introduce our top 5 men. We're going to go through the splits. Then I'm going to get a question or two, pose a question or two to them. Thereafter, I'm going to open the floor to the members of the media. Welcome to our media. When you ask your question, please give your name and your media affiliation. We'll bring the microphone to you. Thereafter, we're going to put the questions, probably the most difficult questions, will be the questions from all the fans who've been watching our outside watch footage. So, let's start. In 5th position, Frederick Funk, representing Germany, a 22:50 swim, a 2-hour 41 bike, a 1:16:43 half marathon for a 3:42:36. From Germany as well, Mika Nort, he did a 22:51 swim, 2:04:15 on the bike, 1:11:44 half marathon, that was a 3:40:53. Into our podium positions, in 3rd place, Denmark's Magnus Ditlev, a 23:06 in the water, 1:59:59, fastest bike, and a 1:14:07 for a 3:39:54 total time. 2nd place, USA's Ben Canute. He did a 22:35 swim, fastest of the top 5 here, a 2:01:47 on the bike, and a 1:11:56 half marathon for a 3:38:03, 49 seconds behind our 70.3 world champion, Christian Blumenfeld from Norway. A 22:53 swim, a 2:01:03 bike, and of the top 5, a 1:11:39 fastest half marathon to give him a 3:37:14 winning time. I think they deserve a round of applause and a huge welcome. Mika, I'd like to start with you. I would imagine it feels pretty flipping fantastic to be sitting here right now as the 5th best in the world.
As the 4th best, actually.
Terribly sorry. Frederick, I should start with you then. There we go. Apparently, I'm allowed one mistake, so let's come back. Sorry, Frederick. Frederick Funk.
But yeah, feels pretty good.
How does it feel?
No, yeah, I'm really happy with my 5th place. I think I had an okay race. I know where to work on, and yeah, those 4 guys were just better than me today. And yeah, next time when I'm coming back, I'll hopefully go a few spots more up. Yeah.
It looked like a really good swim and bike with the group up into T2.
Yeah, my swim was pretty good. I rode really hard and to not take anyone with me to the first pack. And then I just stayed there behind Christian. He was riding so strong. I didn't see any sense in trying to attack or anything. I just tried to stay behind him. That was hard enough. And on the run then, my first lap was pretty shit. I can say it like that.
Sorry, that's German for not very good.
But then in the second run lap, my legs came along and got back to 5th place, and I'm really happy with my performance today.
Thank you very much, Germany's Frederick Funk. We're going to go back to 4th in the world, Mika Nort. Pass the microphone down. So 4th feels better than 5th?
It does, yeah.
Mika, just looking at the results, previously, if I'm not mistaken, great Lanza and Sable d'Olonne as well. So this course really is the kind of course you like to race on.
Yeah, it is. I've been here last year as well.
Yep.
Came 11th, and I like the whole scenery. And like this morning was just great. The red sky and the red rocks. Really enjoyed here. We
know that Germans are the country that travels the most in the world. I mean, you just mentioned the scenery here, Greater Zion, St. George, and all the communities we've been in. You've mentioned the sunrise and the red rocks. It's been spectacular.
It is, yeah, and I've been here for 3 weeks now. So I went to Boulder before for training camp, and then I came here 3 weeks prior to this race. and yeah, got to check out all the race course, which really helped today, because on the bike I was actually pretty lonely, so it was good like to know where to push power and where to back off and not just follow a group, because I didn't have a group for the second half. Yeah, so it definitely paid off, and I'll stay here for 2 more weeks now for vacation.
There we go. I think we're all going to need a little bit of vacation after this World Championship. And after this performance, what does this do for the confidence and for the dreams you have in triathlon going forward?
Yeah, it does. It does a lot. It's been a difficult year, so I had 3 great races, but they were interrupted by an injury. So it's really good to like come back like this and prove it to myself that yeah, I'm one of the best in the world. I'm just 22, so yeah, hope to move up a few spots in the next years.
Thank you very much, Germany's Mika Nort. We're going to move the microphone down to Magnus. Magnus, I did a quick count. I see 3 Danes and a Norwegian in the top 10. What's with the Scandinavians?
Yeah, I really don't know. It's crazy, the times we live in with the Danish and Norwegian triathlon, of course. I just think that it's a very positive spiral for the Danish. I can only speak for the Danishes at the moment, but we sort of, last year, Daniel came 3rd and Miki was 4th. So we sort of push each other in a good way and not try to work against each other, but bring out the best.
Now, you've raced here before when this wasn't a World Championship race and also had a 3rd, so you love St. George.
Yeah, I also raced the World Championships here last year, so it's my 3rd time here, and as Mika said, it's just an awesome place to race in with the scenery, and also I think the course suits me quite well. It's a very strongman's course on the bike and run, so yeah, I really love it.
I remember the days, and we were chatting early on, where people said, oh, just you can't really race more than 1 Ironman a year, full distance, and then maybe, hopefully you can still do well in Kona, but you did the Ironman World Championship in Kona only 3 weeks ago, and here you're on the podium at the 70.3 World Championship.
Yeah, I think the way the triathletes train nowadays, it's better. Like we can do back-to-back racing more easier than maybe beforehand with all the science we do and stuff like that. So I raced Kona 3 weeks ago and was actually quite surprised how quickly my body came along. I didn't perform. Kona didn't go as I had hoped, so I really felt I wanted to prove something here, and I'm happy with the podium.
You definitely proved something. Congratulations with your 3rd place, Magnus Ditlev for Denmark. We're going to hand the microphone to Ben Knut. So, you know, we've got 2 Germans and a couple of Scandinavians. Is it a bit lonely for you up there?
I mean, I think we have a strong contingent of U.S. athletes who also are pushing each other. And if one of us doesn't maybe have our best day or things don't go our way, there's always another one to kind of step in and take the place.
That is the perfect segue to the real question I wanted to ask you. You know, we had Chelsea Sodara, rookie, becoming Ironman World Champion in Kona only three weeks ago for the USA. We had an incredible performance by Taylor Knibb yesterday for USA, becoming Ironman 70.3 World Champion. Here you are with your second at the 70.3 World Championships. It looks like it's been a slightly quiet patch for the Stars and Stripes, but very much back on that upward trajectory.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see, and I took a lot from those performances of my fellow Americans, and yeah, I think that they I kind of had a mantra of just like go and take it, and I think they both really exemplified that, and that's just the way that I wanted to race today, is just, you know, go out there and kind of see what you can do with no limits, and ended up working out relatively well for me.
See, now that's the caliber of athlete we're dealing with when they say relatively well, and they're 2nd in the world. Watching you race, and you had this Norwegian breathing on the back of your neck for most of that half marathon, but you had incredible support from the crowds. And there's one time I watched you go through the hot corner there, and you could hear the crowds from miles away, and you surged. I remember a South African triathlete, Reinhard Tissing, saying that he didn't actually enjoy the home support because it made him break his plan all the time. He got a surge of adrenaline. How was it for you out there?
I mean, it was awesome. I loved the crowd here. There were a ton of cheers for Christian, though, too. And I was scratching my head a little. I'm like, USA guy on the front. Like, let's get a little hometown love a little bit. But, I mean, I was just drawing energy from wherever I could because you need every kind of advantage you can get when you're taking on the Olympic gold medalist. And having caught him within the first 2 miles, I didn't necessarily expect that. And I was kind of hoping Kona would show up in his legs and he would crack at some point. But, I mean, it's just a testament to how good Christian is. And I was just at that point, that was going back up diagonal. I was trying to get a little bit pumped before then because that's where I caught him in the first lap and was hoping that maybe the uphills weren't being as kind to him as me. So just tried to take the energy from the crowd and really just have fun with it, which is honestly, I could say that it was painful today, but it was just a ton of fun to race.
You know, you talk about those crowds, how they were cheering almost as loud for Christian as for you. And that's testament to the triathlon community and the wonderful respect and love that we show all the athletes. A final quick question on the state of triathlon in the USA with US athletes. What is your advice to the young, aspiring American athletes out there who watch Chelsea, watch Taylor, and watch you and have dreams?
Yeah, I mean, I also like to say work hard and dream big. And I think that kind of sums it up. Just keep putting in the work. Success is a huge roller coaster, and this year hasn't been the easiest. And for sure, my results have not been where I wanted it, but I just kept plugging away and just kept, working hard and wasn't afraid and didn't let any of those performances where I felt like I really underperformed affect me. And just came into this race and just, let it happen.
Thank you very much, Ben Canute for the USA. And all the best. I believe the family's about to get a little bit bigger in a month or so we wish you well for that, you and the family. Our Ironman 70.3 World Champion here at the Intermountain Healthcare Ironman 70.3 World Championship presented by the Utah Sports Commission representing Norway. I would imagine that you're going to apply for American citizenship, right? I mean, just look at it. In May, you became the Ironman World Champion here. Then in Hawaii, you came third. And here you are, the Ironman 70.3 World Champion back in Greater Zion, St. George.
Yeah, it's been quite great, I would say, like experience having both, or especially here in St. George, not feeling like 100% with Hawaii, like that was third. But yeah, I think I will keep it there.
Just talk us through your race, because it was, as much as you train with data and all of that, and you use the data to advise the approach to racing the heat in Hawaii, there was no data about how you recover 3 weeks later. And was it all heart and a little bit of grumpiness post-Kona that got you to the front?
Yeah, I guess so. Like a little bit tricky with the swim, like with the dark, like it's difficult to see like where we are in the pack. So I thought it was further down to the front guys than I really were. And then I just decided, okay, I'm just going to skip putting on any extra thing in transition and just try to bridge up there. And suddenly I was already up with Ben after a few Ks. And my plan was to dress. So I was cold. So I really had to push hard on the bike to stay warm. And yeah, I tried to just go as hard as I could until Snow Canyon. And yeah, I didn't really know what I would take out of the run leg before the run. But was pleased with the gap I had down to Gustav. And I thought that, okay, I will have the kind of a fine run because we dropped Ben just on the way down. So I didn't know where you came from suddenly. Like catching like 20, 30 seconds in 2 or 3 Ks. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to try to use, to stay behind him until making the move with, I think, with like 4 or 5K left. And pleased with the way the legs were responding then.
To a degree, looking at the bit of banter that was on social media and then also at the press conference, you made it reasonably clear that, Gustav took your title and you're going to take his.
Yeah, but I think it's a bad swap, to be honest. Like, I want that full distance title as well. So we will see next year. But it's good to cross out the 7.3 title as well. I haven't done that one before.
Just talk us through that half marathon. So, Ben caught you quite nice and early, and then you just sat behind him. Was that the plan, to just sit behind him? Once he got you, to just sit behind him and then see what legs you had for the last 5K?
Yeah, first of all, the plan wasn't that he should catch me. But then when he did, and I felt like he was surging through like every corner on the golf course, and I knew that he's been there for like 3 weeks, and I guess he probably know the run course quite well. I haven't been through it in advance. I only watched the women's race yesterday, and I was quite surprised how kind of twisty it were, and it was tricky, like especially with the tough bike and kind of the muscles we have coming off the bike. I was like, sort of scared of getting any cramp or issues there, but it was fine getting through the first 10K, and then I was just waiting until I make the move.
Very well executed race. Congratulations. Post-race, after you were finished, we did the presentations, you went back to the Pro Lounge, but then you actually came back to the finish line and you went to interact with the volunteers and photographs with them and thank them. Just tell us about what this community means to you and what this place means to you.
Yeah, it's so great to have like a community like here in St. George. Like it's the third World Championship we had in almost a year, and to see like 4,000 or 5,000 volunteers really turning up every year, every time, and 2 days of racing is really impressive. And without all the support from the local community, we wouldn't have had the races we had. Like they took over the World Championship in May, and they had 7.3 last year. So they've sort of been like holding the sport alive during the pandemic. So it's a great place for triathlon.
Thank you very much. Your Ironman 70.3 world champion, Christian Blumenfeld, representing Norway. I'd like to now open the floor to the media on the floor. Please just give us your name and your affiliation. We'll give you a microphone. Bob Babbitt, thank you so much.
Name's Bob Babbitt with Babbittville, and it started with Ben. Ben, I know this year, all the training you've done, you didn't feel like you saw the results that you should have had. How special was today to put it all together?
Yeah, I mean, this year started off all right, just was still building, and then middle of the year, just with some sickness and having to recover and everything, just really set me back, and just didn't have the amount of training I needed kind of throughout the middle part of the season to really be competitive with the best guys in the world. And after Dallas, just really had kind of flipped the mental switch and came out here early, put in a ton of work. And I mean, it's kind of tough sometimes because it's you don't race well pretty much all year. You start to question certain things, and you take time away from the family, and it wasn't easy. So to be out here to, experience the crowds, and to just, my main goal is just to race super hard and see what I could do on the day, and to race how I've been training. And I feel like I accomplished that, and it's an extra cherry on top to get second here at the 70.3 World Champs. So it means a lot.
So Christian, when I look at what you've done this summer, I mean, just winning St. George full, getting third in Kona, doing sub-7, that's 3 full Ironmans in your legs. How do you do that? How do you still have the turnover when you're at the top of that 5K climb to put that all together?
I think it's all about the preparation towards that, like that you really dialed in for the full distance. Because like even a week before Hawaii, we did almost a full distance Ironman, like across 2 days. So if you're able to train yourself so you can actually race a full distance, then I also think that your recovery time would be way shorter than just like surviving. And if you haven't done the preparation as good as you can do when you have like numbers to support you, and kind of, doing it easier to do the training. If that makes any,
Any other members of the media? Kevin McKinnon?
Just wanted to follow up with Ben, if I could. You talked about sort of it being not having a great season to start things out. With the you already have one child, another one coming. Is it a little easier to put triathlon aside and not get so hyped or worried about the results with the family growing?
I mean, it's we're always learning. My daughter's going to be 2 in December, and we're having another one come along in December. So I'm sure I'm going to be learning even more about balance and time management and all of that. But I've always been big on having balance in my life. I've tried to do, all triathlon 24/7. And for me, it just doesn't really, it doesn't do it for me. I need to have that little bit of escape to reset so that I can go out and put 100% of my focus into the training. So I think that family life has really helped with that too. And they always tell you, like, you don't know what it's like to have like a daughter or a child until you actually have one. And it's been a really fun experience to be a dad and to see the world through her eyes and to take her along on the journey with me.
Am I okay to follow up to everyone other than Ben? Just to ask about 4 Europeans here on the out of the top 5. What do you guys? What are the challenges for you to come over to the United States for an event like this? Question 1, and 2, if anyone wants to take this, why is Europe so powerful in triathlon these days?
Yeah, so the challenges, I think, both for Christian and I, we've been in the US I raced in Dallas, and then I raced Kona, and now I race here. So I've been in the US for almost 8 weeks now. So you definitely have to make like a really big trip and invest a lot of resources and time away from your family and stuff like that. So, yeah. Do you have anything to?
And yeah, why Europe is so powerful. I mean, it's just like Magnus said with Denmark or with Norway. I think it's just in whole Europe that, yeah, we're all pushing each other. Every race there is like almost a world championship and really competitive. So even like to qualify to race here, you have to be on top of your game. So I think that's why we always perform really well on those international races.
Any more questions from the members of the media? I think Babettville's got another one. We'll bring the mic across to you. Thank you, Bob. And they will be doing the social media questions as well.
Oh, okay. It's fascinating to me. We have Ben Canute comes from basically second generation. Your parents were triathletes. Freddie Funk, same type of thing. And Freddie, talk a little about, and Ben as well, just having your parents into the sport and then you following their lead and now having success as professionals.
My parents just, I think, showed me like a really healthy relationship to the sport. So I was never like really pressured into it or something, and I just came along for their races and just started to love it, and wanting to race it myself. And I mean, I guess it's for everyone like who has parents in the sport. So yeah, we just start to love triathlon over our parents.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to the community in the sport too, because I had a little bit of early success, but honestly, it was just about having fun with the people around me. And we had a good group there and just a good triathlon community where I grew up. And that's really what kept me coming back to the sport. And then, it was great to be introduced to it by my parents and have them super involved through the whole journey. And I've just been, having fun since I was a kid doing these races and just thought it was a super cool and unique sport that, is not as popular in the U.S. as some of the mainstream sports. But I think the people in it really just, it sucks you in, and you're surrounded by, just a great community.
Got another question? Please state your media.
Melissa Anderson from Community Education News, local media. I just have a question. When I was watching this morning, I didn't go out there, but I saw where you were all led astray a little bit. After the swim first started, someone took a turn and everyone kind of followed and then it went back. Can anybody address about that and how that kind of, maybe, I don't know if you had a little bit of fear in your heart for a second, or if maybe we should put lights on the buoys.
Well, we were joking about that at the beginning, that we all needed headlamps or lights on the buoys to help, with the dawn start. that was my pack. I think I was third there, so I was following Aaron Royal, and I think Mark Dubrick was leading. And it sometimes happens in the swim, just because you take a sharp turn and you overturn a little bit, and then like your vision is kind of in front of you, and if you turn too sharp, you don't see the red buoy against the red rocks and the red sky as easily. Especially at that point, I think we were 10 minutes or so, 11 minutes into the swim, so it still really wasn't that light, but. I mean, I always race with the in the back of my mind that there's something that's going to go wrong. So we just kind of check that off pretty early on, and you just readjust and get back into it, and make sure that you go around the right buoy. And the swim personnel there, the safety personnel, and all the volunteers are always really good too. At like if they clearly see you going off in the wrong direction, they kind of push you in the right one.
To be fair, I must say I've seen that happen in broad daylight, so not just at dawn.
It happens more often than you'd think.
Any more questions? A huge thank you to the members of the media now for the opportunity for those that have been watching our ongoing coverage on Outside Watch. We've got a couple of social media questions, and I think one of you referred to having watched the women's race, and the one question here is, did you change your racing strategy based on watching the women's race? And who would like to answer that question?
I can go. I watched it, and it's always interesting because you can pull information from the women's race, but a lot of times the dynamics can be different, and you really don't know how the race is going to play out until you actually get going. So for me, I kind of kept a very similar plan, but it was mainly a lot of like, how cold was it? Like, what did you wear on the bike? And tried to see like, are they putting on gloves or shoving the safety blankets down their suits or putting on a jacket? And then trying to adjust for our weather, because it was slightly different on the day as well.
Anybody else want to answer?
Yeah, I also talked to my fellow German athletes who raced yesterday, and I mean, I think it's also a testament to like our the community within the pro triathletes. They lent me like a vest which I could use, and I put it into T1. But then I decided, screw it, I'm not going to use it. I have to get on my bike as fast as possible. But I think we all watched it. We all. Maybe some got a bit afraid seeing the woman freezing so much, but today I didn't find it very bad at all, despite not putting a vest on. So it was okay conditions, I think.
Thank you, Mika. Anybody else want to make reference to, a woman's day only and a men's day only, and what about? I heard, Christian. I know that Gustav promised at the press conference he'd be out there without his shirt, cheering on the women whilst they're racing. I heard he was out there. Were you out there?
Yeah. Did you see me? Yeah. Yes, we were out in Washington in the hill, and so them came by, and it was good to see that we got some in return too.
Another question from social media. And this is open to the floor. What was your favorite part of the course? And not just the crowds, but obviously the crowds were insane.
I think it's always nice when you can see the M dot in the roundabout, and you know that it's just a left hand and then it's the finish. It's not that nice when you have 10K to go, but the second time.
Anybody else? Favorite part of the course? We've been here so often.
I really enjoyed Snow Canyon. It was a tough climb, but this is probably that's probably one of the most scenic roads and one of the most underrated roads in the U.S. Just we went up it, maybe not as scenic because I think when you come down, it's super pretty. But yeah, you always hear about Zion just down the road and Grand Canyon and all of that, but Snow Canyon is pretty special as well.
Ben, whilst you've got the microphone, there was a question specifically for you, and I'll read it verbatim. What happened in the last 5 kilometers of the run?
Christian went really fast. That's the short version. I mean, the longer version is I did try and surge multiple times throughout. It wasn't super aggressive, but Christian kind of did a good job of staying just close enough, but also making me think that, he wasn't able to maybe make it for that much longer. So I was trying to figure out which part of the course maybe was making him hurt the most. And at that point, coming off there, I was kind of biding my time. I mean, I watched him in the Olympics. I know that he likes to go early. I didn't really expect 5K early, but yeah, no, I just did everything I could to try and limit the damage, but it was pretty much done by 12 miles to go and just focused on not cramping and getting to the finish line.
Thank you. Then the final question that all the community we talk about and the fans we talk about posed is, and you can each answer this, please. What is going to be your celebration meal?
I don't know. Anybody have good suggestions for in town? Because I like to go to the local places, but I don't know. But I'll be eating a lot of food, I guess.
I'm looking forward to something very fatty and salty after all the sugar stuff I had, and I think I'm gonna go for a pizza with like cheese on the side of it.
In the crust,
like,
yeah.
yeah. It's I think you can't get this in Germany. And now that's actually the good thing about doing like 2 weeks vacation here. I'm gonna have a lot of American food, which is great for off season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mika.
Yeah, so I've had chicken tikka masala 2 days in a row, so I guess I'm not going to go for a 111. Still have to kind of be filling up the calories, but still can't go too wide because I have a race next week.
Spicy food before a race. That's interesting.
Mild.
Mild. Magnus.
Yeah, I agree with Mika, as unhealthy as possible. And tonight depends on what they serve at the awards.
Oh, there we go. So he's having dinner at the awards. Of course, you all are. We'll have our top 10 there. Fred?
Anything other than pasta. So, but yeah, also fatty, salty food for me, and a good burger, and maybe a beer or two.
Ooh, I like this. There we go. Round of applause for these incredible men. Fifth in the world, Frederick Frank. Fourth is Mika Nord. Magnus Ditlev third. Ben Knut second. And your 70.3 world champion, Christian Blumenfeld. To the media that were here, thank you so much. For those of you that have been following us online, thank you. And it's back out to the race course. We've still got a couple of thousand age group men out there who need to come down that finish line. And we look forward to the banquet of champions tonight. From St. George, from Greater Zion, from